Welcome to episode 125 of the Sports Marketing Machine podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Neisser. What do you do when your ads are generating traffic but not ticket sales? In this episode, we'll break down what happens when fans see your ad but don't convert, and more importantly, how to fix that broken ad to sale journey using smarter retargeting, segmented funnels, and a higher impact creative. So I'm going to break down for you why this happens even when your return on ad spend, your ROAS, looks solid, what to change in your ad structure and messaging, and a step-by-step, stage-by-stage ad funnel strategy that you can copy today to get this fixed and get you back to selling more tickets. So whether you're running meta ads, pushing promos, or just trying to understand why fewer fans aren't buying, this episode is for you. I'm going to give you a practical blueprint to tighten your funnel and increase revenue per visit. Let's go. Excited to talk about this common problem that a lot of sports teams are seeing as they start to look to data throughout their season and at the end of their year, trying to figure out what happened, what worked, and what didn't. So one thing I want to point out as we dive into this first piece of this isn't a budget problem, it's a conversion problem. The conventional wisdom would say, I want to throw more money at this. I'm getting people to the website. How come they're not buying? What's going on here? I want to throw more money at it. It's not a budget problem. It's a conversion problem. So here's the big idea here. If you're seeing more traffic but fewer sales, that means your ads are efficient but not effective. I'm going to say that again. You're seeing more traffic to your website. Your ads are efficient, but fewer sales, your ads are not effective. So the quote I'm going to drive home for you right now is clicks don't count, conversions do. So you've got more traffic, fewer buyers. What does this really mean? If your website traffic is up and your conversions are down, this is a classic signal that you're attracting the wrong people or showing them the wrong thing. Some easy way that I take a look at this is I start to take a look at your average order value, AOV. That means the total collective amount on average a person would spend in a transaction when they're buying tickets. So I will take a look at that, or you can look at that yourself. And what this means, even that fans who do buy aren't buying as much, they're opting for cheaper tickets or coming to fewer games. Another way to look at this is your impressions are up. You got lots of impressions, both organic and paid, but the buyers are down. That suggests either ad fatigue, weak creative, or poor audience targeting. And that's what I'm going to get to in just a few minutes. Another way to think through this is your return on ad spend. Your ROAS is stable, but it's misleading. You're spending money efficiently but not effectively. The funnel isn't broken at the top, it's broken at the middle or the bottom. So the big takeaway here is you don't have a budget problem, you have a buyer quality and message alignment problem. So just to recap a little bit here, you've got more traffic, you've got fewer buyers, average order value. If you look at it, you realize, hey, they're spending less than other people have in the past or in the previous month. Your ROAS is stable. Hey, I'm getting 3-to-1 on my ads, or 5-to-1. It's misleading. You're spending efficiently but not effectively. And then if you're looking at it and you're saying, oh, my impressions are up, but my buyers are down, that tells you that your ad has fatigue, your creative's relatively weak, or poor audience targeting. So how do you rebuild this? How do you rebuild a retargeting funnel that converts? So stop sending everyone to the same ad. This is something that I see a lot when I start to dive into ads with teams, is that they're sending everyone to the same ad and hoping for the best. That's not the best way to do it. I like to look at it in 3 different areas. Top of funnel, TOFU, middle of funnel, MOFU, or bottom of the funnel, BOFU. So, top of the funnel. This is focusing on attracting new qualified fans. This is where you would use your lookalike audiences of buyers, not just general interest audiences. So avoid sending like discounts. Hey, buy one, get one free, or $5 off, or promo code, or what have you, right? You're just trying to attract new qualified fans by using your lookalike audiences and not just the general interest targeting. So when you're building out your meta ads, the objectives are landing page views, add to carts, or even video views. That's your objective. You're not looking for sales. You're not looking for that. You're just trying to get eyeballs on your content and to your website, specifically tracking to see how many people put things into their cart. And video views. You're just trying to get eyeballs on things. As you're setting this up, exclude anyone who's engaged with your site, socials, or have purchased. And I'll explain why in just a moment. So your objective for top of the funnel, landing page views, add to carts, or video views. You want to exclude anyone who's engaged on your website, which means your last 90-day website visitors, last 7-day website visitors, anyone who's engaged on your social media channels or purchased in the last 90 days. Now for middle of funnel. Before I go in the middle of the funnel, I'm going to give you all of this in a download. I'm going to put it on the website. So it'll be sportsmarketingmachine.com/125. Just pop one over there. You can actually download the audiences that you should have in each of these so that you can set them up strategically to make your ads more effective, not just more efficient. All right, middle of funnel. This is where most teams I see drop the ball. They serve content that builds intent, hype videos, testimonials, theme night previews, all of those things. But this is where you really want to set up your audience for this one. So you want to retarget video viewers. These are your 50%, your 75, 95% video viewers, your 30-day website visitors, and cart abandoners. These are the people who have added things to the cart but didn't purchase. So you want to make sure you exclude anyone who has purchased. Make sure you test a creative that's matched to what the action you want them to do. So if you want them to buy tickets to this Saturday's game, make sure that that ad that you have promotes this game that's coming on up. So make sure your creative matches what it is. Bottom of the funnel, you are laser targeted on these people and you're trying to make some sales. These fans are warm, so you got to be specific. A clear ticket offer with urgency. So who do you put into your audiences and what's the objective? You want to make sure you put in all the folks that put things in their cart the last 1 to 3 days, your ticket sales page viewers, all those people who visited your ticketing page, recent website visitors, and your email list audiences. These are all warm audiences of people. I would exclude people who have also recently purchased. I would exclude those. Make sure you're monitoring frequency closely. What happens is sometimes when you do this, you're building this bottom of the funnel, your audience is going to be super duper small, but you want to make sure you're watching it and saying, hey, if I'm seeing the audience see it 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times, you got to come up with some new, fresh creative. So big takeaway here is align your message to the funnel stage. Not every fan is ready to buy now, but many will, but you have to warm them up the right way. It's like when you meet someone for the first time, you don't ask them to marry you on the first date. That just doesn't happen. That's just weird and awkward, right? So make sure you align the message to the correct funnel stage, because not every fan is ready to buy now, but many will, but you have to warm them up the right way. All right, next part here, your creative that converts, not just clicks. So coming up with creative that doesn't just get clicks, it actually drives sales. Eyeballs don't equal buyers. So making sure your creative is matched, is correct to the audiences that we lined out. So if you have creative that mismatch, it's going to be a killer. Ads that generate lots of clicks but no purchases usually do this because they overpromise, underdeliver. It's a buying process that's really long or hard, or it attracts people who weren't really even buyers. You've heard of the term tire kickers. You generate a lot of tire kickers if your creative mismatches what you're trying to accomplish with your ad. The best creative speaks to the fan experience, not just the features. Let me give you an example. Show the fireworks crowd, not just, hey, fireworks night, July 6th. So your creative promotes what you're trying to accomplish, generates excitement, and then you can also, in your caption, explain the date and what you're asking them to do. Use proof over promotion. Let the past video viewers, highlights, and happy fans do the selling. So be sure to consider reusing top organic video content as paid content. That's something I discussed in episode 121. I'll put a link in the show notes. Think about this. Ad fatigue is definitely real. So sometimes you just have to rotate your creative 10 or 15 days, or when you start to see that frequency hit 4+, 5+. And I had mentioned it specifically for bottom of the funnel. You really have to keep an eye on when the frequency hits 5, 6. You got to change out the creative there. So big takeaway here: the right message to the right audience at the right time is everything. Don't rely on clever captions alone to drive revenue. So just to recap a lot of what we've talked about today, why does this happen to so many teams? You're not broken. Your ideas, your thoughts, your planning is not broken. Your structure is. Most teams run things as top of the funnel. As they run things as top of the funnel, they're trying to get sales from people who aren't ready to buy. And oftentimes they're looking at click-through rates and cost per 1,000 visitors, and they're using the same ad creative on a lot of different audience segments. The structure is wrong. That's what it is. I want you to think about and have a new mindset here. Think about your ads like a sales rep. Your top of the funnel ads should open the conversation, not try to close the sale. They shouldn't try to close the sale. So what we're really taking a look at is sales that come from specific places. We're looking at landing page views versus clicks. We're tracking average order value, we're tracking revenue, we're tracking if sales went up. That's what we're tracking. So the main takeaways from today's episode. So if you don't take away everything I said, but you just want to take away the main takeaways, more traffic isn't always better, especially if it's the wrong traffic. So watch quality over quantity. Number 2 main takeaway, your retargeting funnel needs stages. Each stage deserves its own creative, audience, and objective. Takeaway number 3, a good ROAS, return on ad spend, can hide weak performance. So check your buyer counts and average order value to find the real story, and make sure you match your creative to the buyer intent. Clicks are cheap. Conversions are what matter. And number 5, watch ad frequency like a hawk. Stale ads will kill your momentum. If your team is stuck in the I saw your ad but I didn't buy cycle, it's time to fix your follow-up funnel. So start mapping your audiences to the buyer journey and then test creatives that meets them where they are. I love the analogy of asking someone out on a date and then asking them to marry them the first time you meet them. Like, you would never do that. So think about that analogy as you start to build out your ads in your top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of the funnel throughout your season. This episode's going to be sportsmarketingmachine.com/125. Pop one over there. It will have the show notes, but it'll also have everything broken down for you to be able to follow along as you're building out your audiences and your objectives for each of those different places within the funnel. But if you want help breaking everything down and really need an audit around your ticket sales, specifically on the single game side, schedule a call. Happy to chat, completely free, willing to take a look at all of your data and really help you put together a plan in place to scale and sell more single game tickets. And hey, if this episode helped you, leave a quick review or share it with a colleague who's deep in the ad metrics trying to figure out what's working and what isn't. Until next time.